Welcome back to the Slasher Siblings podcast. I'm your co-host Cicely.
I'm your host Hayden.
And today we're talking about Gremlins. It came out in 1984. It's rated PG. It's an hour and 46 minutes. And it's rated a 7.3 on IMDb. It's a movie about a young man who accidentally breaks 3 important rules concerning his new pet. This unleashes a horde of mischievous monsters on a small town.
Okay, do you want to start the discussion?
I'm just gonna say it right now. Gizmo is so cute, right?
Yeah, I have that written down too.
He's so cute. And I can't even express how much I want to just pull him out of the screen and just have him and just take him everywhere. He's so cute.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's the most important topic. I also really like the aesthetic of the movie.
How did we guess?
And I like that it's a Christmas movie too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think it's very I feel like it's a movie you can still kind of cozy up and watch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not like a terrifying movie or anything.
It's not like you're gonna be scared to go to sleep that night. Unless the gremlins just really freak you out. But I think Gizmo outweighs all the scary.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you think about the movie?
I really like this movie a lot. I remember watching it as kids. We were probably, I was probably 10, making you 6.
Yeah.
Probably.
I almost said 8. I forgot we were 4 years apart.
Yeah, we're 4 years apart.
My bad.
No, I really like a lot of this movie. The whole movie is good. I mean, it really is almost one of those movies where I like almost every scene of the movie, or at least something part of it. Usually I don't fill up like 2 pages with movies and, fear facts and stuff, but this is definitely one of them. I really like the Chinese shot. It's a cool aesthetic to the movie. I like the whole introduction into the Mogwai, saying like, I'll never sell the Mogwai and stuff like that. And the
This is why.
this movie's why. I like the bathroom buddy thing. He's the inventor trying to sell his bathroom buddy, and it's like it's just like a brick with stuff taped to it, basically, is all it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot
funny
more.
too.
Yeah, it's a lot more detailed than that, but you can just call it a brick, and he screwed on like a razor and a toothbrush and stuff. So I think it's funny when he accidentally sprays himself with toothpaste, trying to show off his invention, and it's not really working out for him too well. I mean, I feel bad for him because he needs to sell it, because that's his job, but it's just kind of funny that it malfunctioned right in front of the dude he was trying to sell it to.
Yeah, I know. I thought that was funny too.
Do you know the 3 rules of the Mogwai?
Don't feed them after midnight, don't get them wet, and don't let them be in the sun or the light.
There was kind of a joke because isn't all time after midnight? Like all day long is after midnight, so when do you feed them?
Yeah.
So is it like from midnight to sunlight, or
Probably.
they never, I mean, you could assume, but they never specifically say that. But in like number 2, I don't remember if I've seen number 2 or not. I don't think I have, but in number 2 they make a joke out of it because a lot of people have said that all day is after midnight technically.
True.
Or it's after midnight somewhere in the world.
It's after midnight at like any point for anybody, right?
So is it just based off your time zone, or
I would assume after midnight means like
in your time, like where you're at from midnight to
like 6 a.m. I don't know, when the sun comes up. That's what I assumed.
I also find the tree kid funny when they go to buy the Christmas tree and he's dressed up in the tree costume, and I think he's really funny. He's in another movie. Isn't he in Goonies?
Yeah, Goonies.
He's a hilarious kid.
Yeah, he was a good part of the movie.
He was so funny. No matter what he did in any movie, really, but this one especially was hilarious. And when he was trying to hide his tree costume up in the... It's like, I'll just say that some kids beat me up and took it.
Yeah.
Who's going to take that tree costume?
Nobody.
You're introduced to Mrs. Deagle. She's a bitch. It's the only thing I have written beside her. She's bitch, because she's such an ass to everybody.
Yeah.
Especially that dog.
I know.
What's the dog's name? I don't remember. Doesn't matter. She's so mean to it for literally no reason. And
I don't remember his name either. It's bothering me. But he's cute.
Yeah, he is.
He's so cute.
There was a fear fact that I'm gonna just give out now because I don't think I wrote it down for later, but Mrs. Deagle actually names her... She's the rich woman of the town, and she actually names her cats after different kinds of money.
Oh my
so
God.
one's name was Dollar Bill. Another one was like Euro, I think was one. Rupee was one of them. It was all different kinds of money, like currency names. So that's one.
Could you imagine being like that?
No.
No.
I also like the whole I need the Mogwai as a present for my son thing.
Yeah.
Like it was just he saw the Mogwai. At this point we don't know his name yet, so but he sees the Mogwai, doesn't ask what it is really, doesn't ask if it's dangerous or anything. He's just like, I want this. It needs to be a pet for my son, flat out. He was like, I need it. Like that's kind of what I would do too. It was like, I don't care if this kills me in my sleep. This thing is too damn adorable
too
not
cute.
to have.
I would have done the same thing. Well, I would have got it for myself, but I can't pass up something that looks like that.
Not Gizmo.
Nope.
Then we are introduced to Gizmo, and the only thing I have written, like we said earlier, is he is the cutest thing.
He's so cute when he lays in bed and he's like laying back on the pillow and has a remote and just watching TV.
He's just the chillest thing.
He's so chill.
I also like the Gizmo singing scene when he's singing to, well, he's also singing in the burlap sack, but that's the Mogwai singing. But at this point, we know that his name is Gizmo, and I like that he's just playing the keyboard and he's like humming along to it.
Yeah.
I thought it was really a really cool scene. It kind of gives you a sense of like Gizmo's like the good character.
He's not the bad guy.
Oh, I thought that the orange juice scene was hilarious.
Oh my god.
The
eggs.
The eggs was really funny too, but when he tried to make the orange juice and it just like crushes them all at once and starts spraying orange juice all over the place, and he gets covered in the orange juice, and then that tree kid comes in and he starts looking around and seeing like orange juice on the ceiling and on the cabinets and stuff.
Looks like a murder scene. Just with oranges.
Just with oranges. I feel bad, but it's also a cool scene to like see what happens when Gizmo gets wet. And he starts, spouting off babies.
Yeah, multiplying.
And it's kind of cool to see that, but I feel bad because...
when he's, like, almost, like, seizing.
Yeah, it obviously doesn't feel
so
good.
Sad.
It clearly doesn't feel good, number one. Number two, when you watch this for, like, your second time, you know what happens. So it's like, I feel bad now because I know what's about to happen in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, I agree.
I also like movies. I'm a big sucker for movies that say the title in the movie, but not when it's something like so obscure. Like I can't think of one off the top of my head right at the moment, but it can't be like something so obscure that like no one has that in normal conversation.
Yeah.
So when Futterman says there's gremlins in my tractor, I thought that was really funny. That I like that, like they said the name of the movie in the movie.
I know what you mean.
Without being upfront and obvious about it. I like those kind of movies.
Me too.
Like if The Conjuring would have said like it's a conjuring of spirits or whatever, I'm like, oh, that's that's pretty cool.
They say clueless.
Yeah, they call her clueless, right?
She calls herself clueless.
She calls herself clueless. Yeah, so it's like really cool. I really like when they say the movie's name, but it can't be something like
just off the wall.
Off the wall, we're going to see Violent Night when it comes out. If they say Violent Night, that'll work too. They can just be like, oh, it's a violent night for this Christmas. Like that'll work. But if they say like something so stupid just to put the title in the movie, kind of ruins it a little bit.
I got what you're saying. I don't know if they're gonna understand what you're saying, but I know what
I'm sure someone understood what I was saying.
I got you.
Now I'm just trying to think of a movie that has a name that doesn't belong.
No, I almost said Beetlejuice, but they literally say that.
It's like if Scooby-Doo, we were watching Scooby-Doo, the live action, and he goes, oh, this is Scooby-Doo 2, Monsters Unleashed. Like, that's so forced and it sounds dumb.
Yeah.
There are movies that actually do that. Like, they say their whole entire title in the movie, and it just sounds ridiculous. So forced. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Gremlins is perfect, because that's exactly what they are. They're little gremlins.
Yeah. And he says it. He doesn't say it in a forced way. He's just like, there's gremlins in my tractor. I also do and don't like the fed after midnight scene. So it's like...
when they're eating chicken?
Yeah. So it's cool to... it's actually really funny to see them eat the chicken like that. And they're just throwing the chicken everywhere. But it's also like, I know what's about to happen. The first time you see it, it might seem harmless. But then second, third, fourth time you see it, you're like, I know what's really about to happen. This is where it starts.
It kind of frustrated me because... I was like, dude, why are you feeding him right now? And I get it, his clock broke, I get it. But if it was that strict of a rule, I would double check what time it was.
I also like that Gizmo doesn't take any.
Yeah.
He just kind of is like, I'm good.
I'm good. It's past midnight.
Yeah, I think Gizmo knew, but wasn't sure, you know? But still, it was kind of cool that they made sure that Gizmo was going to be seen as a good character. He's like, no, I'm okay.
It's like, you sure you don't want a piece of chicken?
Oh, yeah, I'm good.
It was so cute.
I also like the gremlins hatching scene. The eggs look so cool and gross.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they finally come out and hatch out of the egg, it's like such a cool scene because none of this there's zero CGI in this movie. Here's an early fear fact too. There's no CGI in this movie, which means all of that was done with puppetry, animatronics, and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so to see them hatching out of the egg kind of reminds me a little bit of like the original Alien with the chest burster, because that wasn't CGI either. That was animatronic work, and it's kind of reminds me of that too, which is really cool. I like that when you look at Gizmo's face, you can actually tell what his emotion is and what he's feeling just based off of like how his mouth looks. So there's the scene where they're hatching out of the eggs and he's sitting in that little helmet and he's scared, and like the way his face looks, you can tell that he's legitimately scared.
Yeah.
And it's not like you have to guess what he's thinking or whatever.
He knows what's about to happen.
Right. I also love the first look at the gremlin when you first see it, because there's that whole scene where he like gets his hand cut and the teacher's dead and all that other stuff, but like when you get a good look at the gremlin, like that's not at all what you would expect him to look like.
No.
You would expect it to be like this, much worse. You would definitely think it would be much worse, but it looks like a gremlin that's just ugly.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Which is really cool because they took like the core look of the Gizmo, of the Mogwai, and just made it ugly. It's not like that they turned into this different creature altogether and was like looking like...
It's the same thing, just two different fonts.
Yeah, just two different fonts.
Yeah.
It wasn't like they went from a Mogwai to a Xenomorph from Aliens.
To something like crazy looking. Like they look the same. That's like, it's basically just like they're shedding a layer of their skin.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then they're
sort
just
of.
like not cute because they don't have fur anymore. You know.
The gremlins eating the cookies scene was
God.
really funny.
I
That
really
whole kitchen
related
scene.
to that.
Yeah, it was such a funny scene to see them all
Destroying stuff.
ripping the whole entire kitchen apart. And it goes right into my next one, is that Mom's a badass.
Yeah.
She killed 3 gremlins by herself.
Yeah.
Alone.
She's
Getting things thrown at her.
doing the thing. Yep.
She was a total badass while they were just ripping apart her kitchen.
Oh yeah.
And I thought that was...
For some people, that is horror. Like,
yeah.
gremlins coming in and ripping their kitchen up. Like,
I also have here, you might not like this one. I have Deagle is Sicily with the cats.
Shut up.
Do you remember the cat scene where she's like, "Oh, my dollar bill, you come here. We'll just..." You know what she's like baby talking the cats, and
that's so
she has no husband. She's living alone.
Oh my
14 cats. I was like,
Hayden!
this is gonna be Sicily. She's gonna have a whole house of cats. She's gonna be a crazy cat lady.
Oh, I fear it's true.
I was gonna say, you call yourself the crazy cat lady
I
anyway.
am. I have 6 and I'm only 23.
And when you turn to 65 or however old
When I
she
have
is,
a big girl house,
you'll have a cat in each room,
I will
like
have
Freddie
a
Mercury.
whole cat. Yeah, actually, that's like top goal.
A room for each of his cats.
Yeah. First, I'll have to start out with everyone's gonna have to share a room.
Yeah.
And then we can upgrade. That's actually so funny. I'm definitely not gonna go home and cry myself to sleep tonight.
Shut up. I do and don't like the bar scene when they're all tearing apart the bar. This is also after the scene, I guess I forgot to write it down, where Stripe jumps in the pool. That scene is definitely supposed to like give you some chills when he jumps into the pool, and it definitely does that really well. And just thousands of gremlins come popping out of the pool and chasing people down the street. And when they're in the bar and they start throwing stuff at Kate and she's pouring the beer. I didn't write it down, but I read somewhere that one of those screams from Kate was actually Phoebe Cates screaming because she wasn't expecting something to happen. I forget what happened. Like they threw something at her maybe, and she actually screamed because it actually scared her. I really like that scene a lot because it's so funny to see like all the different personalities and stuff that each gremlin has, and like how like devilish and
Goofy.
goofy
Yeah.
and destructive they are and stuff. I know that they're the bad guys in the movie, but it's kind of
kinda
cool.
funny.
It's funny. It's kind of cool to see too. I feel really bad for Kate though when she's telling the story about her dad.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a big humanizing scene for her too. Not that she really needed it, because obviously she was pretty humanized just by being in the movie, but like it kind of shows that like everyone has their
Problem.
thing. Everyone has
Yeah.
their own problems.
Yeah. I know, that made me like, oh.
And like it might not seem like, she's affected by it, but even after all the years, she still remembers the story perfectly. And so it just shows like everyone has their demons, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
I like the rest of the movie, but it's like a funny and sad ending at the same time, because the big battle was so cool of them getting rid of all the different gremlins. So like in the movie theater, blowing the movie theater up, which was really smart thinking on their end, number one. Number two, it was like the final showdown was cool too, between all of them and Stripe, and then Gizmo driving the car around and trying to I really like that they made Gizmo the hero and didn't make him like entirely useless.
Like there are some good gremlins.
Yeah.
If you like, it shows you if you take care of them.
Yeah.
They can
And
be
it
really
also
good.
shows that like tiny things can also, tiny things that you might think is helpless can also be the hero.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the main character of the movie or whatever. But
I mean, if anyone was gonna be the hero,
it definitely should be Gizmo.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of funny, like the way he's driving the car around, and he wrecks the car and he flies through the air and pulls in the lampshade and stuff. And the whole melting of the gremlin scene was really funny too. Kind of gross.
Yeah.
And you see the skeleton pop
that
out of
was
the water. That was so
kinda
gross.
gross.
Yeah. But it was also really cool, like special effects
Yeah,
work.
I was gonna say they pulled it off really well.
They really did. And
I was surprised. I was like, ooh,
that's gross.
it's a little grody.
But that's also like the good ending, the good part of the ending that turns pretty sour pretty quick, because they go and get stitched up and his arm is put in a sling, and they're all at home and everything, and then the Chinese guy comes and takes the Mogwai back. And it's such a sad scene because that he cares for Gizmo and vice versa. It was just he didn't take good enough precautions of taking like proper care of Gizmo. So it's an understandable ending, just really sad.
Yeah, I agree.
What do you think? What is your opinion? Because that was my last scene that I had.
Well, I was gonna say that I have my own fear facts.
Go for it.
I don't think they're really fear facts. I think they're more Sicily facts.
Go for it.
I have a cat named Gizmo.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't name him. I wanted to name him Skunk, because when he was a baby, he looked like a little skunk. But then...
Gizmo's better.
Yeah, Gizmo fits him. My dad named him Gizmo, because he looks like a little gremlin. But he also acts like a gremlin.
That's
so the
very
name
true.
is very fitting.
Yep, that's very true.
Yes, he is very much a little gremlin. And then, the other thing is, I have a little magnet on my fridge that's Gizmo in a car.
In the pink
Yeah,
car? Oh,
yeah.
that's cool.
It's so stinking
I
cute.
haven't seen it before.
Yep, it's so cute. He's like smiling.
That's funny.
He's like, hey guys, just driving.
I keep seeing this thing at Walmart that I really want to get. It's a Gremlins thing.
Is it like a
It's Gizmo, but I can't remember what it is. It's not a Funko Pop, but it's like a little stuff.
Oh.
It's like an action figure, but it has like fur and stuff, and I always want to get it, but I
Yeah.
never do.
I was gonna say, there's these like action figures at Target. They're the Gremlins, like the scary ones.
Really?
And I was like, I picked it up. I was like, oh my god, look how cute. And Cha-Cha was like, no.
Who?
Cha-Cha.
Oh.
She was like, that's not cute. I was like, you don't get it.
You don't get it.
It's cute.
When was that?
Yesterday.
She watched the movie.
Yeah, she said she doesn't. She said that freaks her out.
Oh.
The Gremlins freak her out. I was like, anything. I just think Gizmo's so cute. He looks like a. Remember the little Furby toys? Were they Furbies?
Uh-huh.
Remember I had one.
Yeah, it would always creep you out because
Yeah.
it would go off in the middle of the night.
Do you remember the one doll? Do you remember that one doll that didn't stop like talking?
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that?
Just 24/7.
Remember? And we tossed it down on the back porch to try to shut it up, and it still was talking.
You could hear it outside.
Yes!
Yeah, it was so weird.
Isn't that the weirdest shit.
Didn't we like?
We like abused it. We
Didn't
were
we,
like
like,
throwing it against the wall.
Didn't we drown it or something? Try to get it to stop, or did we? No, we broke it. Was that the one we hit with the hammer, trying to get it to stop talking?
I think we like literally did everything, and then
nothing
we
worked.
just tossed it. We're like, you know what? This is garbage.
Who cares? This thing's
Like we thought
this
it was
is
an
so
Annabelle
creepy.
doll.
Yeah, it could have been. It could have been an Annabelle doll
I think
for all we know.
destroyed it. I don't know. I remember that specifically.
Maybe it was an Annabelle doll, and then the demon that was trying to possess the doll was just like, these people are crazy.
Yeah, literally.
They're not gonna be scared of me. I'm getting out of
I
here.
remember throwing it against the wall. And I was like, stop talking! And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I just threw it on the back porch.
The demon or ghost or whatever was probably like,
like,
I'm
"Okay."
getting out of here. This ain't the place for
I
me.
think I picked the wrong doll.
I picked the wrong house.
I in the wrong house. I don't know. I think Gremlins. I don't know what it's considered to other people, but I think it could be really scary to I don't know, kids
Yeah.
or like people who are like, oh, that's freaky. Like I don't think it's very freaky.
I don't
I think
either,
it's
no.
pretty funny actually.
Yeah, I do too.
I think it's a pretty funny movie. Good Christmas movie.
It is a good
Because
Christmas
I feel like
movie.
you have a lot of Christmas movies that make you want to like cry or like get emotional, and this one's just like it's gonna be cute characters, there's gonna be freaky ones. You can cozy up with this.
Oh yeah,
It's a little chaotic, but you're gonna like it.
for sure.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it.
That's all you got?
Yeah, those are my facts.
All right, so some fear facts here. The set of Kingston Falls is the same exact set as Back to the Future.
Oh.
So when you watch Back to the Future, you're actually looking at Gremlins too. They're both
That's
on the
so
same
funny.
set.
Interesting.
For the next one, originally Gizmo and Stripe were supposed to be the same character. So Gizmo was supposed to turn bad.
Into
Stripe.
Okay.
Yeah. It was obviously going to still be called Gizmo, but Steven Spielberg said no. He was a producer on this movie. He was like,
Yeah.
no, you need a good character to
Yeah.
balance it out.
Yeah, they can't all be bad.
Which ultimately was the correct decision because
Yeah.
now we all know and love Gizmo.
Yeah.
And he's easily the best part of the movie.
Oh, he's the best.
The
but
next one was...
you knew Stripe was bad from the minute
Oh, yeah.
they said, oh, the one with the stripe is like the leader.
And the next one kind of plays into that one a little bit. The no CGI one that I said earlier,
Uh-huh.
all them being animatronics, kind of plays into it because when you see like Gizmo like hanging from the wall and stuff like that, you remember they hung him up in the Christmas lights,
Mm-hmm.
I think, or that was the dog, huh?
Yep, that was the dog.
The dog, but then they hung Gizmo on the dartboard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the dog was the Christmas lights.
So Gizmo animatronic work actually kept breaking down, and in that scene he broke down, so they just hung him from the wall.
Oh.
And they actually hated Gizmo because he would break down the most, I guess.
Aw.
And they were like, I forget what they did, but they were calling it like the worst. They were trying to think of the worst things that they could do to Gizmo.
Yeah.
And they hung him from the dartboard and threw darts at him, and that
Oh.
was in the movie. Because he broke down in that scene, and they
Yeah.
just so mad. And like they actually, so many animatronics stopped working in one day that the entire cast just fell asleep on set.
Oh my god.
Just because it was taking so long to fix them.
Yeah, I would have taken a nap too.
For the next fear fact, that this movie was released on the same day as Ghostbusters.
Oh, really?
Yep, just kind of an interesting fact.
Yeah,
Nothing
I
really
didn't
too
realize that.
in depth about it.
Two options.
For my next one, this movie is actually partially responsible for creating the PG-13 rating because it was just PG and R.
Okay.
So it didn't have enough stuff in it, and it wasn't quite scary enough to be rated R.
Uh-huh.
But it should have been a little bit more than PG. It
Okay.
got the PG rating, but then they thought there needs to be something in between PG and rated R.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't bad enough for rated R, and it was a little bit too much for PG. So they created the PG-13
Okay.
after this movie
Like
came
right
out.
in the middle.
Yeah.
I always thought when I was growing up that you had to be 13 to watch those movies.
No,
Is
that's
that
just the
what that
recommended
means?
age.
I was like, oh damn.
I'm not 13. I can't watch it.
that yet.
No, it was just them saying we recommend them being at least 13 before watching this movie.
Why 13? That's such a weird
It's kind of an odd age, but you're in your teens, so.
I guess. Yeah, that makes
So for my next one is that almost all of actually there was no gremlin dialogue in the script. All of the gremlin dialogue in the movie was completely ad-lib.
Oh,
They
okay.
just said whatever was happening in the scene.
Oh, okay.
That's why they don't have like lines.
Yeah.
Like whenever Gizmo sees the bright light, he's like, bright light, bright light. That was just said on the spot. That wasn't
Yeah.
in the script.
That seems the way to do it. Gremlins.
And it was like that for the whole movie. Every single gremlin on screen they just said whatever. Yep.
I get that.
So, do you know who the voice of Gizmo was?
Mm-mm.
Howie Mandel.
Really?
Yep, he was Gizmo's voice. He didn't sing for
Wow.
Gizmo, but he did the voice work for.
That's so weird. I never knew that.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting one. I really thought that was
That's interesting for sure.
very interesting because now he's on Deal or No Deal
Yeah.
and How We Do It
Uh-huh.
and stuff like that. But did you know that Tim Burton was almost the director of this movie? The only reason he said no was because he didn't do a full-fledged film yet, but he thought he wasn't experienced enough to do this movie.
Oh wow.
Could you imagine like how different
Oh
this
my
movie
God,
would have
it
been?
would be so different.
It was actually before they were thinking about directors when it was being written. It was actually a lot darker than it ended up being.
Yeah.
So the original script that they had, I didn't write this down. This is just something I remembered. Was like people were like supposed to be dying and ripped apart and stuff like that. It was supposed to be a lot darker, and then Spielberg was like, maybe we should like kind of lighten it up a little bit.
Yeah.
It seems a little too dark. And then that's how we got the movie that we got today. For my final fear fact is that originally Gremlins were actually supposed to be eating people instead
Oh
of like
my
candy
God.
and food and stuff.
That would have made it so much scarier.
It would have made it way scarier.
Maybe that's why that probably would have made it rated R, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Just these little terrifying gremlins just eating people out of every.
Maybe then I'd be actually like scared of them, but
Yeah, maybe.
they're just wreaking havoc. That's all they do.
So I gave this movie a 9 out of 10. I think it's well deserved. I think that the rating that it has on IMDb is too low because of how well it was written and like the contributions that Steven Spielberg did to the movie and the amount of work that went into using and fixing all the animatronics, and it just seems like 7, anything below 8 is just unfair.
Yeah. I
mean,
think it's like a 9 too.
At least a 9.
8.5.
I give it a 9.
Yeah, I'll give it a 9 too.
This is also like one of the movies that turned like Phoebe Cates into like the big thing in the 80s. I mean,
Yeah.
she was in Fast Times, I think a year before this? I don't remember. Either way, she was already big stuff in the 80s, but like this was also another one that really
did her in.
Yeah, turned her into stardom and stuff for the 80s. I mean, everyone loves Phoebe Cates. She's a great actress.
Mm-hmm.
I really like, the writing, the directing, the special effects, the directing work, the actors in this movie. They were all great. There's not too many bad things that you can really say about the movie.
Yeah, I don't think there's much bad about it at all.
I mean, some parts of the movie might be kind of ridiculous and silly. I can understand that, but like
That's the whole point of
that
the
is the whole
Gremlins.
point. They weren't trying to be a serious movie.
Yeah.
So it made sense for them to be kind of like ridiculous.
Yeah, kind of crazy.
What did you like most about the movie?
I just liked how chaotic the Gremlins were. I liked how cute they were, and then they like just turned into chaos-causing little monsters.
True.
Yeah, I like how it's like kind of lighthearted, you know?
Yeah.
It's nice to have like a little lighthearted quote scary movie, you know?
And that is due to Steven Spielberg too.
Yeah.
He was kind of the one that said, "Hey, we need to
need
do
a
a
good
little."
guy.
Yeah, we need.
I think
we
that
need a
changed
good guy.
The
Yeah.
whole movie. It
We
would
need
be
a
so
good
different.
gremlin. We can't have all the Mogwais turn into gremlins, so
Mhm.
we need a good one. And then we also need a little bit of a lighter touch to the movie. They
Yeah.
can't be eating people because no one's going to be able to watch it.
Yeah. Even though I think it would be interesting.
It would be interesting to see like a.
Like if they ate people.
Well, they're doing all these movies now, like Winnie the Pooh and
Yeah,
the
I
Grinch
know.
and stuff.
The
They're
Grinch.
they're doing a Grinch horror movie.
Oh my god.
I didn't watch anything. I don't really like watching trailers all that much because they give a lot of the movie away. But what if they did a darker Gremlins where they actually ate
That
people?
would actually be pretty cool. I'd watch it.
I'd watch it.
Maybe they will. I don't know.
Well, we're going to go see Violent Night here in a couple weeks, and it's basically a horror movie of Santa Claus.
Yeah,
So
see how that goes.
they're doing all kinds of stuff for horror
Yeah.
this year, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that movie.
Well, do you have anything else to add in?
Nope, just that this movie's great and I love it. 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10 for
Mhm.
sure. Now, next week we are going to watch Krampus.
Krampus.
I really like the movie. Have you seen it before?
No.
It's kind of like the German folklore
Mhm.
type thing. It's like
I've always wanted to watch it, so.
it's a pretty good movie. I mean, it's not great. It's definitely better than Blood Rage for sure.
Oh.
Because that was
I think
terrible. But
anything's
like,
better than Blood Rage.
there were a couple moments that actually did scare me.
Hmm.
I'm not gonna rate it as high as Conjuring. Not gonna rate it as high as, I don't know what I'm gonna rate it just yet, but
He'll sleep on it.
yeah, it's not an awful movie for sure. It is a good movie, but a lot of people, complain about it. I think it got like a 5 or something on IMDb, which kind of blows my mind because it's definitely better than that. So yeah, I'm pretty excited to watch that movie because I haven't watched it in a while, and it is a good movie. It really is. Then the next week after that's The Violent Night, and then will be our Christmas special episode of our first surprise guest onto our show. Very first guest onto the show coming for Christmas.
Woot woot.
And then it'll just be when the time feels right, because Friday the 13th is coming up in January, and
Oh, yeah.
we can have another guest on who I know loves that movie. So whenever we feel the timing's right, we'll have guests on. It won't be every week.
Nah.
It might be, I don't know, once a month maybe. I don't
That'd
know.
be
We'll
cool.
still figure that part out, but we'll definitely have more guests to come on.
We already have 3 guests here today.
We do usually have our 3 guests here every week.
They listen. We have Echo, Honey, and Kami.
I mean, they're asleep most of the time. Kami just won't sit
Kami
still
walks
tonight.
around and does stupid shit, and Echo and Honey sleep. Honey is sleeping in my arms right now.
Exactly.
She's an important part of this.
So for this one, whenever this movie episode is about to come out, I'm going to put a discussion on our Facebook. It should already be on the Facebook by the time you're hearing this, but it'll be a discussion on the movie. You can tell us what you thought of the movie. You can tell us things you liked about the movie or didn't like. Put it all in there. We want to hear from you
Let us
guys
know.
what you thought, what you would rate it. Just tell us what you think about this movie. You don't have to watch it if you don't want to. I mean, I definitely suggest watching it, but it's up to you.
It's a good watch.
But just let us know what you think about the movie, and we'll have a little discussion going on the Facebook page. And if that's all you got, that's all I got.
That's all I got.
Well, like I said, next week's Krampus, and we'll talk to you guys then.
Catch you later.